Now we are going to start with pubis bone. Okay, so you can see this is the pubis. Pubis is in turn divided into the superior pubic rami and the pubic body, and also the inferior pubic rami. So very simple. First take body in the middle. This is the pubic body. Okay, superior side you'll have superior pubic rami. Inferior side you'll have inferior pubic rami. Okay, so mainly the pubis forms the anterior inferior part of hip bone. So if you see in the hip bone, this is the anterior inferior part. Okay, and the anterior 1/5 of the acetabulum forms the anterior boundary of obturator foramen. So mainly our pubis is forming anterior inferior part of hip bone, and the anterior 1/5 of acetabulum forms the anterior boundary of obturator foramen. Okay, anterior 1/5 of acetabulum. So this is acetabulum, so its anterior 1/5 forms the anterior boundary of obturator foramen. This is the obturator foramen, right? So its anterior boundary is formed at this side. This is the anterior boundary of obturator foramen. It has a body anteriorly. You can see the body of the pubis is anterior, and superior ramus superior laterally. The superior ramus is superior lateral. Okay, and the inferior ramus is inferior lateral. Okay, now coming to the body of pubis, let us discuss it in detail. The body of pubis is flattened, you can see, from before backwards. So it's flattened from before backwards and has a superior border, and it has a superior border called pubic crest. This side you can see, this is the superior border called the pubic crest. It's better to show with the pinpoint. So this one, this is the superior border, also called as pubic crest. Okay, and it has a pubic tubercle at the lateral end of pubic crest. So this is pubic crest, right? Here you can find this tubercle. This is called as pubic tubercle. Okay, which is present lateral end of pubic crest. Okay, and it has three surfaces mainly. Anterior surface, you can see this is the anterior surface. Okay, and here you can see this is the posterior surface. Okay, anterior surface, posterior surface below it. Okay, and you also have medial surface. This one will be the medial surface. So of course medial surface will be where the pubic symphysis will be forming. So this is the medial surface here, right? This is the anterior surface. Posterior surface will be below it. Actually this is the medial view. This is the lateral view of our pubic bone. Okay, so if you see mainly from the medial view, you can observe this pubic crest and also the pubic tubercle over here, right? This anterior surface, posterior surface is below it, and this is a medial surface. Okay, so it has three surfaces, and the pubic tubercle is lateral end of pubic crest, mainly forming an important landmark. So remember, pubic tubercle is an important landmark. The anterior surface is directed downwards, forward and laterally, and it is rough superior medially. It is rough superior medially and smooth elsewhere. Okay, the posterior or pelvic surface is smooth. The posterior surface here you can see this is the inferior pubic ram and not the posterior surface. Actually the posterior surface, just back of it you can see the posterior surface, which is actually smooth and it is directed upwards and backwards. It forms the anterior wall of true pelvis. So actually the anterior wall of true pelvis is formed by the posterior or pelvic surface. How to show the pelvic surface? For example, if you are catching the bone like this, okay, just flip it like this. On the back side which you see, that is the pelvic surface or the posterior surface. And one more thing about the posterior surface mainly forms a true pelvis. Okay, if you remember about the ilium forms a false pelvis, but the posterior surface of our pubic bone forms a true pelvis. And the medial or symphysial surface, this is the medial or the symphysial surface, you can see here. So this medial surface articulates with the other medial side surface of the pubic to form our middle symphysis, pubic symphysis. Okay, so we are done with the body. So important thing in the body is nothing but you have a pubic crest, you have a pubic tubercle, you have an anterior surface, you have a posterior surface, you have a medial surface which is mainly forming pubic symphysis. Done. So this is about body. Now let us see about the superior pubic ram. This one, this is the superior pubic ram. So it extends from the body of pubis. So it is extending from here, right? The body of pubis to the acetabulum. So it is going up to the acetabulum. You can see this is the acetabulum. So rama is from body of the pubis to the acetabulum, and above the obturator foramen, right? and it has 3 borders and 3 surfaces. Let us see what are the 3 borders and 3 surfaces. First, it has a superior border. So this is a superior border. The superior border is called pectinal line or pecten pubis. So the superior border of superior rami is called pecten pubis or superior border or pectin line. Okay, it is sharp crest extending from just behind the pubic tubercle to the posterior part of iliopubic eminence. So you can see, just this is the pubic tubercle, just back of it will run and it will go up to the iliopubic tuberance. This is ilium, right? This is the pubis. So in between them they have a iliopubic tuberance. So till there it extends, and with the pubic crest it forms a pubic part of arcuate line. Actually, we discussed before, this is also called as pubic crest, right? This pubic crest only further extends as a superior border of a superior rami, and this only continues with the iliopubic tuberance, right? So this is also called as arcuate line along with the crest. Along with the pubic crest, it is also called as arcuate line. This sharp line is the arcuate line. Okay, so we call it arcuate line only when the pubic crest and the superior border of the superior rami are each together. Then only we call it as arcuate line. Done. So now coming to the anterior border, of course this is your anterior border, this side. Okay, this is a superior border, this is the anterior border, right? The anterior border is called obturator crest. Why it is called obturator crest? Because here are obturator foramen. So this is the obturator crest. The border is rounded ridge extending from the pubic tubercle. You can see it is extending from the pubic tubercle to the acetabular notch. This is the acetabular notch, right? So till here, this is the anterior border, also called as our obturator line, right? This is called as arcuate line, this is called as obturator line, or else you can say superior border is called arcuate line, anterior border is called obturator line. Sorry, it's called obturator crest, not line. Obturator crest, this is called our arcuate line. Okay, so now coming to the inferior border. Inferior border will be lower, we can't see it over here. Yeah, here you can see this is the inferior border. Okay, this is the inferior border. The inferior border is sharp and forms upper margin of obturator foramen. This is obturator foramen, right? So inferior border is sharp and forms the obturator foramen's upper margin. Next, coming to the pectinal surface. This one is called as pectinal surface. So pectinal surface is between the superior border and the anterior border. This is called pectinal surface. It is a triangular area between the superior and anterior border, extending again from the pubic tubercle up to the iliopubic eminence. This one up to the iliopubic eminence. So this is called as pectineal surface. Next, coming to pelvic surface. Of course, this side will be called as pelvic surface, right? No, not sorry, this side is called as pelvic surface. So pelvic surface lies between the superior border and the inferior border. You can see this is the inferior border, here will be the superior border, right? We'll show it here only better. So this is superior border, right? This side, imagine this side, lower side you have inferior border. So in between them, this side is called as our pelvic surface. And pelvic surface lies between superior and inferior border. It is smooth, continuous with the pelvic surface of body of pubis. It is continuous with pelvic surface of body of pubis, right? This is body of pubis, its pelvic surface is also continuous with this. Next, of course, obturator surface will be this side. Obturator surface lies between anterior border and inferior border. Of course, inferior border, anterior border, between them this is the obturator surface, which is lying towards the obturator foramen or groove, right? So these are the different borders and different surfaces. So mainly we have 3 borders, 3 surfaces in our superior pubic rami. That is a superior border, anterior border and inferior border. So between the superior border and anterior border you have our pectinate surface, and between the superior border and the inferior border you have your pelvic surface, and between your anterior border and inferior border you have obturator surface. Done. But let us go to the inferior pubic rami. So this is the inferior pubic rami. It is extending from body of pubis, this is body of pubis, to the ramus of ischium. So actually this is the ramus of ischium. So this yellow part till here, this is called as inferior pubic rami. Okay, and it is mainly medial to obturator foramen. So this is obturator foramen, medial to it you have this, and it unites with ramus of ischium to form conjoint ischiopubic rami. This one is called conjoint ischiopubic rami because it joins with the ramus of the ischium. This is ischium, right? So for convenience of description, the conjoint rami, yeah, it's better to read the conjoint rami in our ischium only. So by this we completed the pubis. In our next part we'll discuss what are the attachment, what are the muscles attached to the pubis, body, superior rami and inferior rami, and its borders, surfaces, everything.